Right. I'm cel shading some CyberPunk cables that I drew. And just getting some colors in here. So that's one loop. This is another loop I did. Just making some seamless loops for a CyberPunk VJ pack. And yeah. And another animated loop is this cable flying into the screen. Another one is this kind of bubble gummy chunky CyberPunk cable flowing along like a little goopy worm. Hey, thanks for the kind words, Nowhere Queen. And yeah, this is just gonna be some cables I'm coloring. This one, just go ahead and start rocking this one out. Let's get the basic flat colors in here. My fill bucket. And stretch this along. This cable here is 70 frames. This is animated at 15 frames a second. So this one's just flying along like a snake. What's up, Spuds McKenzie? Yes, I like goopy, wormy stuff. It's kind of my favorite thing. Then I'm also doing this one, which is like a slithering CyberPunk cable. Basically, to do this, I just did 1 point perspective and have the perspective grid like this and the horizon line up here, and just use the perspective grid to help me track this. And I drew the details on top of this kind of flowing river shape. So this flowing river pipe is on its own layer, and then on a separate layer I drew these details on top of it that I'm gonna color. So like just getting a basic structure in is kind of key, and then you just add details over it later. I'm animating in TV Paint. Another popular one is Toon Boom, which I don't have yet, but I want to get that one. You can animate in Blender frame by frame 2D style as well, and that's a free program, but I found the learning curve is a bit steep with the interface, but that's every animation program. It's just a matter of learning one little thing at a time. But yeah, I just am most familiar and comfortable with TV Paint. Favorite thing to animate? Honestly, just kind of abstract, goopy, cel shaded stuff. Sea creature type things. Like animating things underwater is fun because it can be really flowy. Basically things with strong S curves and S shapes. I don't like animating human characters. It's probably because it's the hardest thing for me to animate. But it is satisfying to have a character that is believable and feels alive. It's just not something I'm super experienced in because I tend towards the more surreal type things. But I would like to tell some more stories with animation, more so than just making all these trippy loops. I have a lot of ideas written down, even like a rubber hose kind of cartoon. Some ideas for that. The most kind of story driven thing I probably ever did was City of Venom, and that was with the YouTube channel called Mashed. And if you search City of Venom on YouTube, you can see it, and it's basically about Eddie Brock and Venom and Dr. Octopus. And Dr. Octopus is being a rascal, having a concert, but he's pickpocketing, stealing everyone's money. So it's just kind of a old style 1930s inspired animation. Spent about 6 months on it, and it's about like 5-ish minutes long. But there's no dialogue. It's all just, the story is just told through the music. Animating is relaxing. Whoa. Animating is relaxing, but also stressful. But just the coloring stage of animation is pretty mindless. Once you get the colors figured out, it's just a matter of filling in the colors. Then when I do shading later, that takes a little more thinking, but it's still just like all the heavy lifting is already done. So you're just kind of following the shapes you've already put in and the colors you've already put in. But the actual rough animation stage takes the most brain work. And then the cleanup stage takes less brain work, but it's more tedious. That's why I don't like that stage as much. So the cleanup's normally done by my animation partner, Kid Pin. But I'm also started animating on paper recently, and it's so much harder to judge the timing, because when you flip on with your paper, it's a lot different than just clicking play here. And I know this is 15 frames a second, but when I'm flipping with paper, it's very imprecise, because like I'll speed up and slow down. I'm just not sure how it's going to translate once I scan all the pictures in. So it's a little more confusing. But the pro of animating on paper is you have a physical record of your animation, and it's cool to hold a whole stack of paper in your hand that you drew on. It feels very rewarding. Whereas this digital stuff, I can't hold it. But the pro to digital stuff is you never run out of materials. I'm never gonna have to buy more of this blue color. It's infinite. Whereas with my Copic markers, I always am hesitant to even color with them, because I feel like I'm wasting money if I'm not making some like masterpiece with it. So then I pretty much just avoid using my physical materials. And then when I do draw physical, I will just draw in a really crummy notepad with a ballpoint pen, because I don't want to waste my nicer sketch paper, which is really silly because the nicer sketch paper is still pretty cheap. So it's just some little mental hurdles I gotta get over. Yeah, paper can be hard. There's things about it that are easier. Like, yes, on drawing on paper, there's no undo button. Like, I can't just immediately undo something. It's harder to correct your mistakes. But drawing digital is harder in the sense that there is a disconnect between your hand and the surface you're drawing on. It's not perfectly like drawing on paper. Even when I'm drawing on this monitor, there's still a little bit, just a little bit of precision that is missing. Whereas on paper, it's like you have a lot more control over the nuances. But basically try to emulate the look of drawing on traditional stuff, even though I'm pretty much just working digitally. I don't want it to be too digital looking. So on the final product, I'll often add film grain or just other stuff. Like the line work here even is with a pen tool that is a little bit less smooth. Like you can see the wiggliness of it, so it feels a little bit more like a real pen. Keeping consistency and hand-drawn animation. Yeah, I mean, a lot of it's just like practicing. I know it's like not the satisfying response, but the more you draw, the more your kind of like your muscles will figure out how much pressure to add. But a lot of it in terms of consistency is just getting all the proportions done on the rough drawing stage. I used to just go straight into animating, but now I know that I need to draw rough first on its own layer and go over it quite a few times and scrub in between frames, and then you just compare one frame to the next. Like if I was drawing this, I'd just go back and forth a lot and look for any inconsistencies and then zoom in, erase, fix stuff. So it's all just trial and error. Like nothing's gonna be perfect on your first try. It's kind of like massaging the picture into shape or sculpting it. And then you kind of go by taste. Like if something feels off to you, then try it around another way. Get feedback, ask other people to look at the colors, things like that. And then you have to be able to listen sometimes. But I sometimes don't like to listen, but then I realize I should listen. But ultimately you have to decide for yourself what you like. This music in the background is peaceful. It's kind of like Animal Crossing. It's a Stream Cafe, I think. They're on YouTube. They make like copyright free music for these kind of streams and stuff. Oh, thank you, Javier Linares. Became the number one on the team. Just got the #1 gifter badge. Sweet. I don't know what any of that means, but I really appreciate it. And he sent me a heart, I think. Yeah, I don't stream. I just started streaming, so I'm not really sure what any of that means, but I do appreciate whatever that is. I've tried a little bit of 3D, not so much modeling, like I did a couple Blender tutorials, but I've made a few tunnel loops in Blender for like VJ loops, but my understanding of Blender 3D is very limited. Like I pretty much know how to animate the camera moving around environments, but I definitely want to learn more about that. because there's a lot you can do with 3D, even combining 3D with 2D stuff. But ultimately, I want to make a big, either a feature film or a short film with original characters and like a big, epic kind of feeling world. But I need to find people, like, I need to figure out the practical aspects of all that. Even if I had a small team of like 5 people, like 3 key animators, like a 3D artist and a background artist, and I would still be doing key animation, background art, and storyboarding the whole thing, but having a few extra hands for each aspect of the process would make it more doable. Because there's just all these practical concerns, like how to raise a budget, how to everything like that. So I'm just like pretty burnt out on client work. So there's different stresses, because when you like doing client stuff is more consistent income, but you have all these revision stages and wanting to make sure it's what they like, trying to mind read back and forth emails, and it can get a little draining. But personal art, you have the opposite problem where like there can be less accountability because there's no one. If you're the one, steering the ship, then it's entirely onto you to keep making the thing happen. And doing a personal project, there's no guarantee that there will be any monetary benefit to that. In fact, it can drain your savings just working on a personal thing that might not pay off. But working on personal stuff feeds your soul, and you can develop new styles with it stress-free that you can potentially use for other projects. So I guess what I'm saying is it's all can be important, and it can all be a stepping stone. Client stuff can be a stepping stone towards personal projects, and personal projects can be a stepping stone towards your freelancing projects. So they can both feed into each other. And it kind of goes that way with learning art in general. Like if you want to be a painter, painting oil paint, well, the first thing you should learn how to do is draw, because you'll be using the skills you learn in drawing for every other visual art discipline. But like if you want to be a watercolor painter, then it doesn't make sense to learn all the specifics of oil painting. But like the drawing that you learned will still apply to watercolor, oil, acrylic, pixel art, even 3D art. So there's certain fundamental building blocks. It's like an RPG game, kind of. Different things to specialize in. Favorite obscure, lesser known animation. Wow, that's a hard one. Because I know I've seen a bunch of stuff on YouTube. I can't remember. I don't know if lesser known counts, but they either pronounce goblins or goblins. But they're that animation college or studio or whatever. And it's all like student films, all these thesis films. And they tend to be all in very unique, different styles. If you just search goblins animation on YouTube, I really like those. Chad Van Galen. He's an animator, musician. Bruce Bickford. He was kind of like a recluse animator. He did a music video for Frank Zappa, but other than that, he basically lived with his parents his entire life, and he kind of passed away recently. But he does crazy stop motion animations that are all like morphing, surreal, nightmarish stuff. He's probably one of my biggest influences, in fact, especially when I first started animating, to do like these free-flowing kind of dreamlike animations that just like are very lucid dreams that go one frame to the next, but you never know what's gonna happen, because I really doubt he storyboarded anything. It seems like he just turned on the camera and started making stuff and just let his subconscious guide the way. Then like Anthony Shepard was a big influence when I first started. I don't know if he's like would be considered unknown, but he did the Blockhead music video, which is probably his most popular music video. He does a lot of really musical 2D animation that feels like it's very much made for the song. A lot of animated music videos sometimes feel more random, but it's like this symbiotic relationship between the visuals and the music and the colors and the chords. It feels very deliberate and planned out, but it's planned out while also being super fluid and surreal, and even feeling sort of random at times. But yeah. But yeah, check out Bruce Bickford on YouTube. Daniel Johnston, he did some animations. He was mostly known for his music, but he also did art. So I was inspired a lot by these musician animator hybrids, because I when I was making music a lot, I was like, how can I get someone to make a music video for this? But then I started seeing some of these other guys who just made their own music videos, and that inspired me to think, oh, maybe you can just be a one-man studio. Because like, you don't need to have all this crazy expensive equipment anymore. You don't need a multi-plane camera, or you don't even need like animation cells. You can just draw on flip books. But yeah, I don't know, there's just like something really meditative about animation, even though it can be a pain once you're like a physical pain if you're sitting a long time. It's just satisfying to see something kind of start to come alive and move around, and it's even like surprising because you're just focusing on one frame at a time, and then it just like I didn't really think of this. It's like you draw a few key frames, you get the basic idea of the motion down, but then once you add all these in-betweens, it kind of feels like it's coming alive by itself. You're just this vessel that's connecting these frames to make something move. It almost feels like I'm a servant to this being, this entity. Today I'm drinking green tea. This one took a long time. Basically I just animated one side. This is two of the same loop, by the way. I just flipped it horizontally. But yeah, just like cyberpunky. I always wanted it to feel really 3D, so the vanishing point is way down in the middle, and it's just like coming into the screen. But once this start, like, these are just other loops, but you can overlay stuff in different ways to create like a tapestry of visuals. This wouldn't be a finished thing, but like, you get the idea. Oh hey, yes, I have a YouTube channel. It's just Micah Buzan Animation. So if you just search Micah Buzan, you'll find it. Same spelling as whatever my name is on TikTok. Where I post some animation tutorials. I'm going to be more active on animation tutorials, by the way. Have a fire course out. And have some music videos on my channel. And some really cringy vlogs, but I think those might be privated by now. Most of them. Sometimes I'll just talk about random stuff. Is this the right color? Let's see here. Yes, it is. Wait a second. Am I being dumb or am I being dumb? Oh, hang on a second. I think I did something wrong. This episode is sponsored by Fruit on the Loom sock glove. It served me many countless hours animating, but I do wash it, don't worry. Doobie-doo. Okay, I think we're getting this coming along here. Ooh. Ooh. Does it hurt? Does it hurt the neck? Yes. I'm gonna move on to a color a different one. I'll come back to this one when I feel like it. Okay, so this one is like kind of more green, and I'm gonna get the main color in first. Turn that layer off. And we'll just get this here flat colors in, yeah. Just doing trying some different colors for these CyberPunk cables instead of like what you might expect, more earth tones or metal silvery tones. I'm trying some like blues and greens and purples. My go-to color is normally purple when coloring things, but I don't use green a lot. Okay, let's check this out. Oh, I see what happened. I need to erase more up here. I made a mistake. Okay. Oh, dang it. There's some gaps here I need to fill in. That's why the color leaked. Size 20. Wait, nope. Size 15. Okay, there's another hole around here somewhere. Searching for the gap. Might be right here. Now I'll see if the color leaks through. We'll see what happens. Success. Very good. Alright, so these base colors are in. I'll lock that layer so I don't mess it up. Alright, now I need to color in all these here details. Thank you everyone who's watching. Hope you're having a lovely day. Yes, backgrounds are definitely tedious. Sometimes I really enjoy them, but often if I have to like put a character in it, then sometimes I'll start to have a little more trouble because you have to make sure the character, you know, works with the background. Oh snap. I think I have a mistake here in terms of coloring. I might have to figure something out here. How did I color this? Maybe this needs to go behind. Hold on a second. Okay. Yeah, speaking of backgrounds, this I'll show a CyberPunk one I did. Well, I'm working on this one. It's gonna be like a crap ton of cables. This is just roughed out. I still need to do the clean line work and color it. And then this little monitor here is gonna be stuff happening inside the monitor. But yeah. And these little things up here are like little light bulby things. I'm gonna animate. I might animate some smoke or something. Maybe some smoke poofing out of here. Or this could be a light. I'm not sure yet. And there's some lights. So, yep. Working on that one. Save this one. go back to this. I guess I'm not done with the coloring on this, but I'm just gonna go ahead and start to get a toon shader in just to show what that can be like. So to do a toon shader, I'm just gonna duplicate this and go to my effects. Give it more of a hard cell shaded look. And get the color to put the layer on add. And shadow only, no border. Just see what this kind of looks like right now. Looks kind of cool. Probably have to go over this and touch up some parts by hand. So I often have to do with these toon shaders. Like when there's weird little things that don't make sense with it. Okay. I think I like that. Could make it a little smaller maybe. Okay, I'm gonna apply this effect. Cell shading by hand, if I were to cell shade all this by hand, it would take hours and hours. But this toon shader can just get it done in a couple seconds really. Or minutes rather. But then there will be certain parts that I need to shade by hand. Like on the light bulb part, I might add some little specular highlights. Whew, it's getting hot. It's like 90 degrees here. Oh, now I can see this in real time. How this will look animated. Let's check it out. Cool, I dig it. All the colors aren't in yet, but I get the general vibe of it. I'm also trying to make sure these will pair nicely with these other ones I have here. Just trying some different colors out. I think it'll look good with this one. Little blue guy flying over it. Could actually just see. Oh, I'll deal with that later. So I know I'm probably gonna add some light inside this yellow part. Make another layer. Zoom in a little bit. see here. Turn the light up. Hang on a second. Might turn the layer to add. Let's see what happens. Okay, I think I'm feeling this out now. Just animating this little highlight inside the light bulb, making sure it'll flow kind of on this arcing path. Just having it kind of shrink as it comes up here. Uh-oh. Noticed this was not the right color. I have to turn my cell shading off for a bit and color this little strip around the metal connector of this cyberpunky cable. it's weird. I really like certain cyberpunk stuff, certain cyberpunk elements, particularly cables and pipes. But there's not a ton of cyberpunk media that I actually engage with. Like I really like the Ghost in the Shell movie, the first one, and like I don't really have any interest in that Cyberpunk 77, 2027 or whatever it is. I don't really have any feelings towards it one way or the other. I don't know why. But I saw there was like a Netflix show of it because it's like a video game series. But I mean, it looks kind of cool, but I don't know. I tend to like more older stuff, I guess, in terms of the cyberpunk aesthetic, like Blade Runner. Now I'm just hunting down areas I missed on coloring some of these colors. Oh boy. Well, I was saying coloring isn't tedious, but now I kind of take that back. Basically, everything in animation takes longer than you think it will. And I don't know why I know this, but I just don't believe it for some reason until I'm in the middle of the act. Then I realize it does take longer than you think it will. Because there's all these mistakes that you can't anticipate happening. You can't predict the future. As much as I would like to. That's why it can be hard when you're like talking to a potential client or any kind of freelancing type project. They're asking you how long is it gonna take. All you can really say is it depends, because you really can't know. You can give an estimation, but it is stressful to try to make a promise that you'll have something done in X amount of days or weeks, because I don't really know. Especially with animation, a little easier on, say, an illustration where it's just one picture you're dealing with. But with animation, it's just a little bit harder to judge. Usually, say it takes 3 times as long as you think it will. Wait a second. Is that right? Yeah, I better save my April foolishness before I get sad and lose everything. But if you want to see finished animations, just go to Mikey Buzan Animation on YouTube. That's where I post everything. Also have animation tutorials and whatnot. All 2D animation stuff. And also some kind of more like just regular old drawing tutorials. Have a video on cell shading. Couple videos on cell shading. And videos on how to animate fire. Ooh, this one is almost wrapped up on the flats. So this one's just about ready to rock and roll. Okay. It's the middle one. Oh boy. It's weird to think anyone can see this and like how many countless hours I've drawn that aren't documented at all. But then like this is like leaving a visual fossil record, proof that I actually worked on something. It's not just a hallucination. Whew. Well, this one taking a little longer to color because there's all these little individual parts here. Okay, I need to pick one more color over here. Save. Angie says, I get so tired after just a tiny bit of animation. You are not alone. We are all struggling together. The trick is just take breaks, go on walks, drink lots of water, take one step at a time. Try not to get overwhelmed. Spend a little time each week learning something new. And put on a long album or audiobook or something to help you stay sitting down at your animation area. You'll build up the stamina. Before you know it, you'll have a finished animated thing. Alright, I think the flats are done here. There is the color, the cell shaded. Alright, I can dig this. Hey, thanks for the kind words, Angie. The animator life. You like Milk Call? Says Poom Poom. Heck yeah, I like Milk Call. All those old-timey Disney animators. They are the masters of their craft. It's intimidating sometimes. So that's why well, yeah, sometimes I need to try to break out of my comfort zone and draw things that aren't just snaky, goopy, loopy stuff. Alright, this one is basically done. I might add a second shader over it, just for a little bit extra pop. We'll see what happens. Check this out. I'll duplicate this flat layer and save so I don't be a sad sack. And Toon Shader, put it on, put this layer on add, and I'm going to make the pixels smaller. So now we have, maybe this is cool, maybe not. That's an extra layer of shading. Of course on the phone the colors are showing up not correct, but hey, thanks for the kind worms. Thanks for the worms, Bim. Thanks for the kindness of words of everything. Also, thanks to you, Sam, for the comment. Okay, this is with the extra shade. Whoops. Okay, this is with the extra shade. This is without. So that's just one toon shade. This is with two toon shades. So now we have three values. We have dark, medium, highlight. And I might adjust this stuff later, but for now I'm just gonna apply this effect just so I have it on here. Take another sip of my green tea. I've abandoned the coffee life. Now it's all about oolong teas, green teas, herbal teas, teas with vitamins. You can see the effect being applied here. Kind of looks cool, like a ghost or some ethereal phantom flying around. But now we'll see how this moves with these extra highlights on. That's pretty cool. I like it. This CyberPunk snake cable. It's like a ghost. Yep, that is animation. Micah Buzan animation on youtube.com. Just type it in the thing, type in my name, and you can see full length music videos and full length animated shorts and also tutorials. So that one is done. And so now I got that one done. We got this one. The cable's coming into the screen. All 3D like. And we got this little infinite coil cable slinky thingy kind of rocking to the music. And we got this goopy loopy bubble gummy yummy in my tummy cable, and it has little connectors on the tops and sides, and that one is done. And we got I'm animating in TV Paint, and we got this one not done, but this one's like a river of cable flying into the screen, and I'm gonna color it these kind of colors. And yep, and then the background I still need to draw with line work in color. And that is the progress report. And I suppose I'm done for today, but thanks a lot for watching. Thanks for subscribing, thanks for liking, thanks for comments, etc, etc. All my stuff's on youtube.com. Just type in my name, Mikey Buzan, and you will find it. And I appreciate all the positive vibes, and everyone just have a wonderful day. Don't be stressed, be happy, just draw, be creative, take one thing at a time, drink water, brush your teeth, and don't forget to floss. And I'll see you in another video eventually. Goodbye. If I know how to turn this off. Let's see here. Peace out.